My name's Anthony Allen, welcome to my YouTube channel. Here in this video, I'm going to be talking about a Pixel Film Studios plugin called Pro 6.
Yo, let's join forces, hit the subscribe button.
So Pro 6 is a plugin that is available at Pixel Film Studios. Pixel Film Studios is a company that creates plugins exclusively for Final Cut Pro X, aka Final Cut Pro 10. And the Pro 6 plugin is a motion graphics phone that you can animate on your screen.
Let's have a look at how this plugin works within Final Cut Pro 10. So here we are inside of Final Cut Pro 10. I've started a project up. If you would like to know how to start your project for the best rate of success and then ease of editing when you're getting started with Final Cut Pro 10, so you do not encounter any problems or issues while you are editing within the platform, then I have a tutorial for you on my channel as well, and I have a beginner's guide that you can also go through to find out more about the basic functionality of Final Cut Pro 10. Now, as I said earlier on in this video, we are going to be looking at the Pro 6 plugin, which is available at Pixel Film Studios. If you'd like to check out this plugin for yourself, it is a paid plugin and you can find it in a link in the description of this video, which will take you directly to the product that we're using here in this video. So, in order to find Pro 6, in order to find this 3D element phone that you can edit and you can change, what you have to do is you have to go into your generators, which is up here in the top left hand corner of the screen. I'm going to click that now. Right here you've got some generators that I've installed from other places on the web. They're a third party as well as the built-in plugins that I have here in my library. So if you don't see some of these in your library, it just means you haven't found the third party plugins that I'm using. For example, this title preset here. What we're going to look for is Pro 6. Now, I'm actually going to scroll through. Reason being is it's been a while since I've actually used the plugin, so I don't want to have to search for something, then to just research for it again and just waste everyone's time when we're watching this video. So we're just going to search through I'm in the wrong place actually. See, I wasn't paying attention. I was actually in the titles. I need to be in the generators. So first you make your way to the generators, which I've just clicked here, and not searching for the titles. And then we're going to search for the plugin that you will have available once you've paid and downloaded the plugin. So here is one. This is a flawless curved path, meaning that the phone has no flaw below it. That will make sense shortly. Actually, I'll give a brief explanation. The flawed version means there is going to be a solid colour underneath the phone. As you can see there in the preview, the phone is being reflected onto the floor. You can change the height and the distance of this floor, and if the reflection is blurred or has a strong light against it. A curved path means that the phone, when it is moving on screen, will have a curved path and it won't be one straight path from distance A to distance B. The green square here is the starting point. The red placement here is the end point. And that's what I mean by moving the phone from A to B. So what I'm going to do right now to make things easier is I'm going to go for the flawless curved preset here. And what you do is you just drag your plugin into the timeline, and now you can see it takes a bit of time due to the processing, but now you can see there's a phone within the timeline. Now I've changed my presets so the background is not black. The reason why I've done that is so I know that there's nothing in those pixels. So at the moment the background is transparent. When you export this, this will actually be black. But the reason I do this is because I like to add my own backgrounds to videos like this. For example, I'll show you what I mean. Right, so right now I'm just going to select and search white within our generators. Right, and I'm going to place this below the phone within the timeline. Now this isn't a bright white, it's actually a smoky white, and you can now see that behind the phone instead of our transparent indicators, which were the pixel map bitmap that you were seeing beforehand. In order to change that within your Final Cut Pro 10, what you would do is you would go up to the Final Cut Pro tabs, you'd go and click Final Cut Pro, then you'd click on Preferences. Then at this point, this is what you're looking for, the player background. As you can see, I have checkerboard selected. This shows me that there is not anything at all in the background. I haven't placed anything there. That's the reason why I like to have checkerboard. Just thought I'd just let you know that little hint and tip that will help you with your video editing, so that you can tell the difference between a transparent background and a black background. Because if your player's black, you won't know if there's anything there or not if you're using a black background. Right, so that was that. Just thought I'd interject there and just let you all know that. So obviously I can change this background to whatever I want. I can change this from a smoky to a bright white, and it may clash with the phone itself, as you can see, but there are things that you can do in order to make the phone stand out and give it different light and so forth. Right now, if I click on the flawless curved preset, the Pro 6 flawless curved path preset here, you can see that the inspector has now populated. So the inspector's populated with things that we can now do and change to this phone, our 3D phone. Now, edit mode will allow you to freely make changes without having to use too much CPU, meaning your machine, your Mac, won't be constantly working on the changes that you're making, and in doing so, it won't constantly create render files that will bloat your project and make your project file very, very big. And in edit mode, this actually stops the live rendering of that plugin, of this generator that you've put into your timeline, which means it isn't constantly creating those render files. But I actually have this selected in my presets. So again, you can actually stop live rendering and choose to render things one at a time, or choose to render things when you finish making changes to that piece of media source within your timeline. The way you would do that, you would go up to your preferences again, and then you would go into rendering or background render, which is here because Final Cut Pro has updated itself, so obviously it's all in one tab now. In the playback tab, you can see that background render is not selected. When you do have, by default, the background render is selected, and it renders every single change that you make within 0.3 seconds, meaning that it is creating a file for every single change that you make within your timeline. The way that you can tell that something is not rendered is by looking above your media source and looking at this dotted line above. This tells you if the change has been rendered and therefore created another file in order to show you that within your timeline and bloat your project. So that's another tip for you. Giving out a lot of tips today in this video, aren't I? I think I'm doing quite well. Give me a thumbs up if you're enjoying the video so far. So yeah, let's give you a brief overview of how this phone works. So obviously you can select edit mode. I'm going to do that because it does actually save time, and it also gives me an indicator that we're in edit mode and making changes by giving me a blue background, and then you can see the edit there as well. The guides. So these guides, these lines and arrows are telling me what movement is going to take place and where the phone's going to move to and from. Well, from and to. That doesn't have to be on screen. I like it on screen, but when you export and when you've finished making changes, make sure your guides are off, because if your guides are not unchecked, then all of that was just on screen when I had it checked would actually appear within your video. So in order for that not to appear in your video, you need to uncheck the guide box here so that it won't appear in the final finished piece. So normally do that when you're done. So now you have the start controls and the end controls, but you also have on-screen controls as well. Because this is such an amazing plugin and it does so much, and it has a front, a back, a side, a 3D, it's literally a 3D phone. It does take up a lot of processing power, the way it's being built and scripted from Fcpx Studios. So when you're making changes, make sure that you actually are in edit mode so that you can make changes quicker. Otherwise you will find that you get the spinning pinball of frustration when things are trying to load within your Mac because it's using so much CPU. So that's a pointer for some of you that are getting started with this. So you've got your start controls, you've got your end controls. This will change the end and start and positions, the rotation or the axes that you've made a change for. You also have a midpoint. You can change the speed in which the phone moves to and from the midpoint. If it eases in and it just slowly gradually eases itself in, or if it eases out and slowly gradually eases itself out, you can select those. Or you can have a constant flow of speed in which the phone is moving. I do enjoy accelerate, as you've seen in one of the previews that I've shown you on my channel when I'm using this plugin. You also have a lot of different things you can add into the background, because we didn't have a background beforehand. You can actually add this in without having to add another piece of media below it. So you can put your own piece of media below and turn the background off, or you can add the background that's built in and just simply change the color, and then you can change the reflection and the blur of the device itself. Now you have two different media sources you can add. You can add a logo to the back of the phone, which is what it means by device rear, or of course you can change the video within the phone. See if I can quickly show you this, as it is taking up a lot of CPU on my Mac, so it is struggling to preview things when I'm using this plugin. Again, that's just one downfall. I think that Pixel need to just really have a look into to try and make this a more smoother process of editing. Obviously, I completely understand why it does so much and you know why that is difficult, but as you can see there, I've just applied media just like you would any other placeholder that you use in Final Cut. You press apply and you can see the media within the phone, and of course you can change that piece of media, its position, its scale and its pan and so forth, and you can have it standing or you can have it horizontal. For example, you can obviously then change the scale so it fits the phone. As you can see right there, there's Fortnite within the phone, and once you render that out and done what you've needed to and change the position of the whole entire phone, like for example if I pull this axis now, you will see the phone change in position at the start point. Another thing you can do is you can actually move the entire end or start position of the phone, which is also very helpful. See there, I've just changed the position of that phone slightly, and this is where it will start, this is where it will end. Of course, again, you can add a logo to the back of the phone if you're going to show off the back of the phone, and so forth.
So Pro 6 is an amazing, very simple plugin that is very effective. It's very easy to use and it's very cost effective. If you want to create a motion graphic phone on your screen, this is definitely a plugin for you, because you are able to showcase anything on that phone, any piece of media that you have. You can place that within the phone. You can give the phone a shine. It can have a floor below the motion graphic of the phone. You can choose the direction in which it moves. You can have a flawless version as well, because when you download plugins from Pixel Studios, many times you have different templates that go along with it, or different mock-ups that go along with that plugin. This is the case with the Pro 6 plugin as well. So you have more than one version of a motion graphic phone that you can use. You can change the color of this phone. You can, if you've created a logo, you can put the logo on the back of this phone. You can have this phone spin on the screen. You can decide what's in the background, and you can completely get rid of the background and have whatever you like in the background. And there's a lot you can do with this plugin. Now, those of you who are new here to my channel, of course, I talk about Pixel Studios, and there's a whole playlist dedicated to Pixel Studios here on my channel. My views, my personal views on Pixel Studio, you can find. But I've also spoken about your views as well. So on the screen right now, I'm going to give you a sample of Pro 6 in action. This is me using the plugin to showcase a video on the screen. It's Rayman Origins. And that was a app promo that sample that I created so that people could see what I could do for them when creating this type of video. And I did use Pixel Studios in order to make that video that showcases a app promo. And basically it's not an app promo, but it's actually showcasing a game. But the reason why I put the game in there is to showcase what it looks like if I was to use that technique in order to showcase an app that somebody is trying to sell, or a product that somebody is trying to sell on a mobile device. So that was just one sample there of me using Pro 6 for the benefit of my career and reaching new clients and more. So this plugin is definitely cost effective because you can get a lot out of it. There's a lot that you can do with this plugin. Obviously, mobile phones there are millions of mobile phone users, and when you're showcasing an application or an app, you want to see that in action. This is a cost-effective and very effective way to do this because you can animate the phone the way you like, and the footage that you've recorded will not change. So say for example you've tried to film your phone and there's too much glare, there's too much light, the camera that you're using isn't good, you can simply then just use your footage and put it on an animated phone, and then you can, you know, do whatever you want with other motion graphics to help support the advert. For example, just give it a diagram of what's on screen and point to things of what's happening within the scene. The reason why I rate this plugin a 9 out of 10 is for various reasons. Number one is the sturdiness of the plugin. So during the Catalina update, the OS system update that has disrupted many third-party plugins and applications on Mac, there was no interruption with this plugin. I could still use this plugin, there was nothing wrong with it, I had no bugs, I didn't have any loading issues, there was no issues with this plugin. So it was already a very well written plugin, and I had no coding issues or any issues at all with this plugin when I updated to the Catalina OS system. But there were other problems that I was faced with when updating with the Catalina OS system. That is a video for another time, and we know why that happened as well, so we will talk about that at some point on my channel. But this plugin stayed where it was, didn't budge, it was still working. It was brilliant, so I cannot fault it for that reason. Just thought I'd interject there and let you all know that this plugin had no issues when I updated to Catalina. Another reason why I rate this a 9 out of 10 is because it would have been a 10, but the thing that kind of pulls me away from that is the freedom of movement with this plugin. So when you're using this plugin, you have a curved path or a straight path, rather than being able to move the phone freely on screen wherever you like. And the ease of doing that is kind of restricted due to the different type of template you place into your timeline. So if you place the wrong thing into your timeline and you're trying to do a movement that you're seeing in your head, you want the phone to do a specific movement, that can be restricted based upon which plugin you choose, which type or generator from the plugin you choose to use in the timeline. You can be restricted with movement if you choose a straight path instead of a curved path, or a flawed version instead of a flawless version of the phone. And also that does mean that you can be restricted with other things as well, with how the phone looks and so forth. What would make it a 10 is having more versions of different phones and updated phones. If there was to update the plugin, maybe you could have like the new iPhone X or other phones that you could put on screen. At the moment there are only various different I think it's about 3 to 4 different phone designs that you can actually use with this plugin, and it's already pre-rendered, ready for you to control the movement and place your media accordingly, and then keyframe movement. So that would be one thing that I would say, having more options of different phone designs with this plugin, and more options into free movement of the phone on screen. And those are the reasons why it's a 9 out of 10 and not a 10. But other than that, it's a very, very useful plugin, well worth downloading, and that's the reason why I give it a 9 out of 10. If you have any questions about this plugin, hit me up in the comment section down below. I have it so I can use it, and I can actually go through your question practically rather than just trying to guess. So definitely let me know down in the comment section if you have any questions about this plugin. Obviously here on my channel we're all about games, editing and software, as well as a few websites as well. So that is what my YouTube channel is about. If any of those subjects sound interesting to you, definitely give me a thumbs up here on this video and hit the subscribe button for more. Thank you for watching Anthony Allen here on YouTube. Tell your friends about me, tell your friends and your family and whoever you talk to about me here on YouTube. There's more to come. I'm not gone, still here. It's what I do. See you in the next video.